Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. If you are new, my name's Nikita, and today is just going to be a short video, well hopefully a short video if I don't start rambling again, but hopefully a shortish video of a few random questions that people have asked me during our surrogacy journey. My friend on YouTube suggested that I do this video just because some people are curious about surrogacy if they've not heard about it before. And also yeah, if anyone wants any more information on it, like I say, my inbox is always open on Instagram. It's the Jarrett Family Official. I'll put it on here, and I'll also put our Instagram page below as well, so you can always private message me on there and comment below if you do have any other further questions. I'll try my best to answer them as well for you. So we'll get stuck in. And the first question was, how did you get started, or how do you get started with surrogacy? So there's two types of surrogacy. There's gestational surrogacy, which is where the surrogate isn't related to the child or the baby, and it'll be a donor egg or the intended parent's egg. And there's traditional surrogacy, which is where the surrogate is biologically related to the child, so it'll be the surrogate's egg and it'll be your partner or whoever's sperm. So there's two types of surrogacy. Depending on which one you go down, there are different routes. So traditional surrogacy, you can do home insems. I'll go into that a bit later on because that is one of the questions. So you can do home insems because obviously it's a surrogate's egg. More with gestational surrogacy, you have to go down the clinic route, so you have to register at a clinic, have counselling, and go through things like that. It does tend to be a bit more expensive that way because you have got clinic fees and everything. So how we got into surrogacy is a friend of mine has a little boy through surrogacy, and he suggested that we join a Facebook group. So we joined there. It's an absolutely fantastic group. There's tons of information. You can ask questions and someone will get back to you. There's loads of documents on there that you can save and edit that you can use. Yeah, so we went on there, started talking to a few people. We have made a few friends on there as well, and yeah, it's just nice talking on there and getting to know things because there's so much to it. It's just nice to find out all that information. So we joined on there. The next stage for us was we told family and friends what our future plans were, because I think that is really important to let them know, so it's not a big shock or a surprise, and you know, everyone knows your plan, everyone knows what you're, you know, intending to do. So yeah, we told family and friends, and that's when Jen rang us and offered to be our surrogate. So Jen's my sister-in-law, so she's my mum's husband's daughter, and she offered to be our surrogate, which was absolutely amazing. But yeah, that's how we got started with everything. If Jen hadn't had offered to be our surrogate, we would have stayed in the group. There's surrogates and intended parents in the group, and you all talk. If you get to know someone, get talking to someone, you go like in a get to know. It's a bit like dating, they say. But you're going to get to know, you meet each other, you talk to each other, make sure that you're all on the same page, make sure that you've got that bond, and then you sign agreements and yeah, start the process from there on. Like I said, that's how we got started. Obviously, depending on which route you go, it is slightly different. You can also, instead of going through a private group like we did, you can also join a agency. So in this sense, it is a bit like dating. So you join an agency, they take all your details, they have surrogates and intended parents on file, they look at all your details and they say, oh, we think that this surrogate would be an ideal match, and then you'll start talking to them and see if anything, you know, goes from there. And then if you do match with them, I think that there's quite a few fees when you join an agency, so again, if you do want to go that way, it is an added fee as well. But like I say, if there's any further questions on this, you can comment below or like message me on Instagram and I will answer that for you, because I could go on forever about that question. All of these I could go on forever, so I'm trying to make it quite short and sweet. The next one, is Jen planning on doing surrogacy again, and will you both have another after Willow? So I'm not sure if Jen's planning on doing it again. She was up for doing it again after with another couple. She didn't have one picked out, but with another couple, and then if we wanted another, she said that obviously she would try again that way. But there has been a lot of things go on in this pregnancy that have affected her health, or that can affect her health. So yeah, that's up to Jen personally if she wanted to do that again, and I'm not sure if she would, and I don't blame her if she wouldn't, because she has been through it all with this pregnancy, bless her. So yeah, that's Jen's personal choice if she wants to do that again. And if not, then also that's fine as well. You've got to think of yourself first and put your health first. That's the most important thing. And will you both have another after Willow? So we do probably want a second in the future. We're not 100% yet, because we might have a first and then we might think, yeah, we can't cope with any more, or we don't want any more. We might be happy with just the one. We don't know how we'll feel once she gets here yet. But Adam has always wanted 2 children, and whether that's through surrogacy or if Jen decides not to do that again, whether it's through adoption, because I've always wanted to adopt since I was really little. So yeah, there's a couple of options out there, and obviously we'll discuss it when we get to it. So that's that one. And do we get the same paternity or maternity with surrogacy as you would with a natural pregnancy? So you get the same leave. So Adam gets his usual 2 weeks and it'll be paternity pay, and I get my maternity leave. It's classed as adoption leave, so if it's through surrogacy even, it's classed as adoption leave, and it's the same as normal maternity leave. The pay is exactly the same. The only difference is you can't take adoption leave until the day the baby's born. So my adoption leave will not start until the day she is born. So if Jenny's going to get induced, then, or you know your surrogate's going to get induced, you need to be aware that them days before, when you're in the hospital waiting for everything to kick in and obviously the birth, you won't get paid for them days. So maybe keep a few holidays back, like I've done, just to see if I can book some holidays. Once we get a date, or if we get a date or anything, I can book some holidays before it actually happens, so then I don't have loads of days unpaid and everything. So yeah, everything's practically the same, it's just named different, and you don't get the leave until the child's born. With Adam's, I think he can take it whenever he likes. So how did Jen get pregnant and how did it all work? Like, a lot of people have asked this question, and because everyone's curious, like, how did it all work, you know, how did she get pregnant and everything else. I have done a video on home insems. If you look back on the my surrogacy journey folder, they're all in there. And to cut like a very long story short, what happened is we did ovulation tests, waited until Jen ovulated. On the days that she ovulated, we went down to hers. Adam did a sperm not a sample, but you know, did his bit into like a pot, and then you pull the sperm up in the syringe, and then obviously Jen inserts it, and yeah, it's just how it's done naturally really, but it's done through a syringe in a different way. They don't have sex. I've been asked that question so many times. No, they don't have sex. It's all done through the syringe, and then into Jen. She lays there with her legs raised and for 20 minutes, half an hour, and see if the egg meets the sperm. So that's how it all worked, and it worked first time. So it does work. You don't need to have sex to get pregnant. So that's how it all worked. How long does surrogacy take was another one. This is, we always say that surrogacy, it's like how long is a piece of string. Like, everyone's journey can be different depending on the circumstances, depending again if they're going through a clinic, if they're doing traditional surrogacy. Traditional surrogacy, you can just, as soon as you're on the same page, as soon as you know that you want to go ahead, you can start ovulation tests and go ahead. Gestational surrogacy, you need to have meetings at the clinic, so you need to have like counselling. Your surrogate might need a few like tests and stuff doing, and then they need to create the embryos, and then then you can go ahead, and then if it doesn't work, you've got to go through that process of going to the clinic again. With traditional surrogacy, you can just go down to the surrogate's house or wherever you want to do insems. So it's a lot easier. It's not an easy process, and the process may not happen straight away. I've put on here, because obviously with Jen it happened straight away, but when she had her coil removed, I think we was waiting about 4 or 5 months, I think it was, before her cycles went back regular. So she didn't actually have a regular cycle and ovulate for about 4 or 5 months because she had the coil in. So it won't happen straight away, and it might not happen first time. It's just, obviously we're very blessed and we're very lucky, and I know how lucky we are that it did happen first time, but that may not be the case. So it might take, I know people that have had 4 or 5 attempts and it's still not happened. There's people that have had attempts and then they've sadly lost the baby, which can also happen. You've got to keep that in mind, because it's just like with any regular pregnancy, you can unfortunately lose a baby. So yeah, it doesn't happen straight away. It's not an easy process, and patience is absolutely everything. Because like I say, they might not get pregnant first time. There might be a lot of travelling depending how far you live away from your surrogate. Jen's about 2 hours away from us. Takes us just over 2 hours. That's with no traffic. So every time we went and did an insem, even if it was after work, we finished work at, Adam finishes work at 5:30, and then we'd drive down there, so we won't get there till 7:30, maybe later. And then we did the insems. By the time we were back, it was like midnight, past midnight. So you've got to obviously take all this into account and think about the whole process. It's not just go down, do insems, come back, and then she'll get pregnant. It's not as easy as that, but it's all worth it in the end. So you've got to think about the end result. And when we were on our way, as we were back from Jen's, I did think, you know, I was really tired in the car, literally on the way back, knowing that I had a 2-hour drive. And what kept me going, I just thought, well, you know, if it works and she's pregnant, it'll definitely be worth the drive. It'll definitely be worth this. And you've got to keep your hopes and spirits high, and yeah, have a lot of patience. Will she be your baby when she's born? So I have been asked this. In the UK, surrogacy the way that surrogacy works, I know that sometimes, some ways it's different in America, but surrogacy works is I won't be on the birth certificate when she's born, because legally the birth mum has to be on the birth certificate. So I will not be on the birth certificate when she's born. She'll obviously come home with us from day one. So from the hospital, we'll take her to our house and she'll be with us. But from the day she's born, when the birth certificate gets produced, I will not be on there. Then what happens is, from 6 weeks old, you have to apply for what's called a parental order. And then once you've applied for that parental order, then what will happen is you'll take over the mother of the child on the birth certificate. Adam obviously is already the biological father, so that doesn't matter. But we need to apply for a parental order, which means that Jen will obviously sign away her rights, kind of, or legal rights from the birth certificate, and then I'll go on there. I hope I've explained that properly, but yeah, trying to make sure I get it all in. So technically in the UK, which I hope that they change the laws in the future, because technically at the moment with surrogacy, if you went and found a surrogate that you didn't know, obviously Jen's family, so we've got that trust there already and we know her and everything else. But if you went and found a surrogate, you need to make sure that you 100% trust that surrogate. The same when a surrogate's choosing IPs as well, intended parents, because in the UK, once that surrogate gives birth, she could decide to keep that baby. I mean, if one of you are biologically related, you could obviously maybe apply to see them. But yeah, technically she could keep the baby. The same with the other way around. If a surrogate did it with IPs, they could technically say, I don't want that baby anymore. I don't know why they would if they went into surrogacy, but they could turn around and say, I don't want that baby anymore, and that surrogate would literally be left with a child. So there's got to be 100% trust there on both parts, because it can happen, and it has happened. I've seen in the group there has been, it's very, very rare, but it has happened. So yeah, just be careful. But yeah, will she be your baby when she's born? Technically yes, legally no, until we apply for that parental order. Next question, are surrogates paid, and if so, how much? So surrogates are not allowed to be paid in the UK. They're not paid. They can claim expenses. So, oh, my legs are going dead set down here. But they can claim expenses. So they can claim for things like loss of earnings if they need to take time off of work or maternity leave. They can claim for maternity clothes, anything that you need during pregnancy and after. I've done it again and I'm rambling too much because my camera's just cut out, but there's only a few questions left. But technically the surrogate, if she's healing after birth and she needs someone to clean for her or anything like that, she can claim that as an expense. So she can say that she needs this much for a cleaner after birth, and she can claim that. There's a list of different expenses that they can claim, and yeah, but they can't get paid. They cannot get paid for it. If they make any money off of it, then it's illegal. They can't get paid for it. So they are doing a massive, massive, massive thing for people. People think that they're getting paid because expenses can go up to, you know, 25,000 plus. I mean, if they've got a good job and they need time off work and they've got children and they need childcare and everything else, I mean, there could be a lot of expenses and people think that they're getting all that money, but really they're just claiming money for what they need during that pregnancy, if that makes sense again. Also, will Willow know about the process and that Jen carried her? So the answer to this is yes, definitely. I don't believe that lying to her or not telling her until she's a teenager is the right thing to do, because then I feel like there might be some kind of resentment from her for not telling her sooner or not telling her the truth. And I believe that honesty is the best policy. She will know from when she can understand that we'll tell her Auntie Jen carried you, you know, you were in Auntie Jen's belly, however we need to explain it. And again, we'll come to it when it gets to it, when the moment gets to it. But yeah, we want to make sure that she fully understands what Jen did. She fully understands how she came into the world and how she was carried and the process. We want to make sure she's educated on that. So the answer is yes, she'll definitely know the process, she'll definitely know who carried her, and yeah, we would just want to make sure she knows everything. So it's all out there, and there's no, I'd hate for there to be any secrets or, you know, not be honest with her, because I just don't think that's right. I mean, some people might want to, some people are different, they might not want the child to know that then they're not biologically theirs, that they're the surrogates. They might want to tell the child that they are biologically theirs, but personally I don't think that's right. I mean, people are different. People might want to tell the children different things, but yeah, for me, we're going to be 100% honest with her. And the last question is, how much contact do you have with your surrogate and what happens after she's born? So obviously Jen is family, so we have tons of contact with her. She's here for birthdays, we see her for Christmas, we see her for just general when they come up to see family, because I do live down in Birmingham. So we'd see her when she comes up to see family. We message her at least once a week. yeah, so we have tons of contact with her. We go down for scans and appointments, obviously as many as we can do. And what happens after she's born? So we will continue like we usually do. There won't be any less contact. If anything, there might be more contact, because we'll obviously, we want Jen to be a part of Willow's life. So yeah, we'll take Willow down there to obviously meet the kids, or they might come up here. I don't know which way around, depending on how Jen feels after the birth. What happens after the birth is we'll take Willow home from the hospital. Jen will go home to recover with her husband and her children. And like I said, the contact, it won't really change, it'll just continue. So that's really nice, because some journeys are different. My mouth's going dry, I'm talking loud. But some journeys are different. Some surrogates don't want to have any contact afterwards. They just want to do what they set out to do for a family, and then they just leave it there, and that's it. Some IPs don't want the child to have much contact with the surrogate afterwards. Again, that's fine. As long as the surrogate and the IP is on the same page, then there's no like wrong answer. Like, whatever works for everyone's journey is different, and whatever works for everyone else is completely fine. There's no wrong or right answer, like I say. So we will continue contact like usual, if not more. When she comes down for family events and everything, we'll see each other then. And that's the last of the questions, you'll be glad to know. Or if you've enjoyed the video, or just not enjoyed listening to me rambling once again. I feel like I ramble so much on these videos, but I've got so much information that I just want to share and put out there. And like I say, I hope you have enjoyed the video, because I know a few people were curious on a few of the questions. So I hope I've answered them all correctly. Well, not correctly, but I hope I've answered them all to the best of my knowledge. And like I say, if you do have any other questions, or you do want to speak to me about surrogacy, you can always inbox me on Instagram, the Jarrett Family Official. So you can always, yeah, inbox me on there, ask me anything. Don't be shy to inbox me, because people have. It's amazing how many people have reached out to us since knowing that we're going through surrogacy. We've had quite a few people, some people that we haven't spoken to since school, and some people that we already know that we had no idea that were having problems with fertility or conceiving. There's been quite a few people that have reached out to us and asked us about the journey, and you know, how we actually got into it, and because they're struggling with fertility and everything. And it's been nice, really, because it's nice to help other people that are going through this as well. So yeah, like I say, inbox me on there, comment below if you want to know anything else. I can do a part 2 and do some more questions if I get any more. And yeah, subscribe if you're new, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.